Hello, my friend. What is your story? What is your life story? And we all have some kind of story based on the life we've lived and our experiences. If you ever say to yourself or to somebody else, or you hear somebody say, well, things like that always happen to me. That's just the way it is. People always treat me that way. That's based on your story. And that's based on your life experiences. And if you go back even further, that's based on your conditioning and what you were taught was right and true. And that's what you focus on. That's what you give energy to, where you put your attention. So, while that has been your life story, what is the story you would like to create? So, what's your old story and what's the new story that you are creating or would like to create? Let's start with emotionally. Let's say you've gone through a lot of depression, anger, sadness, fear, anxiety, guilt, shame. Those are third dimensional frequencies, the lower frequencies, emotions. But now you want to create a new story. So how would you like to feel? What do you choose for yourself? Peace, happiness, gratitude, appreciation, inspiration, creativity, abundance, heart centered, authentic, uplifting, inspiring conversations and connections. You decide. You are creating a new story. So you decide what it's going to be. It doesn't have to be the same as the old story. I'm sure you probably changed a lot of things in your life already. So emotionally, let's say you decide, well, I want my life to be peaceful. I want to feel peaceful. I want my mind to feel peaceful, my whole body to feel peaceful, to be happy, and I want to feel inspired. You can choose more than that, of course. What would you like to have in your life? Okay, right away, I heard you say, but it's not possible anyways. But what if it is? What if it is possible? Yeah. Okay. So what if it is possible? You can ask that like a mantra. And yes, your unconscious conditioned self or your ego mind will come in and give you all kinds of, past experiences, reasons, excuses why it's not possible. But remember, that's your old story. You have been changing every day. You are changing every day, every week, every month, every year. You're not the same person you were 3, 6 months, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Definitely not 20, 30, 40 years ago. You're a very different person and you've had many, many experiences as an adult. So you keep bringing it back to, well, what if it is possible? If you knew that something was possible, what would you like to create in your life? Maybe you'd like to travel. Maybe you'd like to retire and spend time with your grandkids. Maybe you'd like to ask your boss for a raise. What is it that it's maybe you'd like to get into a relationship, a romantic relationship. Maybe you'd like to increase your friend group. What is it? Go swimming with the dolphins. Okay. But what if it is possible? There's still resistance there. See, if you don't dream of something greater, then you're going to keep doing what you've always done. And what you've always done is based on the coping strategies you developed as a child. So, why don't the coping strategies, some do, but why do many of the coping strategies we developed as a child not work as an adult? Because as a child, you need somebody else to look after you. And, when you're really young, it goes to feeding you everything, changing your diapers. Of course, you're completely helpless as a little baby. You get a little bit older and you can walk and talk and feed yourself and dress yourself and such, but you still can't. You have to learn to read and write. You can't work. You can get a job, drive, pay rent or a mortgage, pay bills. You need somebody else to do all that for you. So as a child, you develop coping strategies that work as a child, but now you're an adult. Those same coping strategies don't necessarily work as an adult because you're capable of taking care of yourself. All those things you couldn't do as a child, you can now do. Many people get stuck at this and they never get out of that. But now you're aware that you've got coping strategies that you developed as a child that worked when you were a child because it got your needs met. But now they're keeping you stuck. So what if now, as an adult, it is possible? Okay, so there's a part of you saying, but what about all those experiences I had? What if those experiences you've had, everything you've gone through as an adult, have happened because in some way they supported your growth? In some way they supported you in looking at your life or your situation differently. They may not have been easy, experiences or situations you went through, but in some way they were necessary. Even if it was a self-sabotage, there was something you needed to learn from that. If not in that moment, then later on. So all the ways there's a part of you saying, I can't do this, I can't have that, I can't achieve that, I can't allow myself to receive that, because what about all these experiences I've had? Acknowledge them, but then allow yourself to choose something greater and know that you are worthy and deserving of living a life that you choose, that you desire for yourself. That might be a life that's fun, that's peaceful. Might be you want your mind to calm down, just calm right down. Your nervous system to calm down. See, when you choose that and you start asking yourself, what if it's possible? And you focus on that and you give attention to that. What will happen as you focus on that, you connect to that, emotionally connect to that, people will come into your life and say something, or you have a conversation with them, or something will happen, they'll support you in some way, or you might get an email, somebody will say something, you'll meet somebody, unexpected money will show up. But if you believe the story you've been living up until now is going to continue to happen and nothing is going to change, then that's what you expect. That's the same kind of people, places, events, experiences you will attract into your life. But when you have a picture, an image, a desire of something greater, I am worthy and deserving of receiving love. I am worthy and deserving of feeling good. I am worthy and deserving of feeling happy. I am worthy and deserving of receiving money with ease. I am worthy and deserving of feeling and being healthy. I am worthy and deserving of experiencing an abundance of energy. When you allow yourself to even think of that and then focus on that, that's the energy you start to attract into your life. And everything is energy. So you start to attract the people, places, experiences, events you need to support your new story. So allow yourself to create a new story. And then give yourself the grace to know that it all takes time. It doesn't mean once you create a new story that it's going to happen tomorrow. See, that's where many people stop or block themselves. Well, I focused on this and I did this for a few days, a few weeks, a few months, but it's not working. Yes, it's working, but you're dealing with energy here. It is shifting in your life. But remember, you have lived decades of your life as living the old story with those limiting beliefs, thoughts, emotions, behaviors, what you believe about yourself and others and such. And so have your ancestors. So it doesn't necessarily mean that everything's going to shift right away, but notice the small things that start to transform in your life. Maybe before you would have been thrown off by hearing what's going on in the world, chaos or an unexpected bill. And maybe you're still thrown off, but instead of lasting in that, funk all day long, or, it takes you a few minutes. Or normally if it would, you'd be, stuck and down for, an hour. Now you look at it and go, okay, well, I gotta change my thoughts and the way I look at this. And right away you start to feel lighter. There you go. There, your whole self relaxed. Okay, there's some happiness bubbling up, and the happiness is bubbling up because you're starting to believe that something greater is possible for your life, that it is possible for you. And yes, absolutely, it's possible. There you go, my friend. Namaste.